Hi guys, Anna here from English Like a Native, and today we're heading into the bathroom. But not just my bathroom here in London, no, we're heading across the pond to go and see my friend Vanessa's bathroom. Now, when I say across the pond, I mean over in America. And Vanessa, I'm sure you'll all know her. Vanessa from speakenglishwithvanessa.com and the YouTube channel Speak English with Vanessa. Hi Vanessa, how are you?
Hi, thanks so much for having me, Anna.
You're very welcome. Is the bathroom a place that you spend a lot of your time?
Well, I hope it's not too much time, but it's certainly a place that I guess we all regularly go during the day.
Well, I don't know about you, but as a mum, because I know you have two young children similar age to mine, sometimes the bathroom is the only place that you can escape to.
Yes, you get a couple minutes of quiet and peace, or I have a child sitting on my lap. You never know what it's going to be.
So the differences between our bathrooms are actually quite interesting. I didn't think there'd be so many differences, but there are differences in vocabulary and little different habits we have. So it's going to be a really interesting video today. By the way, guys, if you'd like to have a copy of all the notes from today, where we're comparing the British English and American English vocabulary from our bathroom, you can download your free lesson notes by clicking on the link below and joining my ESL mailing list. Now, you filmed a tour of your bathroom and I've done a tour of mine. So let's start off by looking at your bathroom.
All right. Hi, welcome to my American bathroom. I'd like to give you a little tour, and I'm curious if anything is different from your country. In the US, we call this room two different things. I just called it a bathroom because it's in my house. And usually that's when we use the word bathroom, when it's in someone's house or we're feeling really comfortable in a casual situation. But we also use the word restroom. Restroom is commonly used in public places, so you might use this at a park. You could ask, where's the restroom? At a restaurant, where's the restroom? You might even use this in the office to be a little bit more formal. Where's the restroom? It's a little more indirect, but these are both common expressions for talking about this room. Most bathrooms have three features. The first one is the sink. The second one is a shower or tub, somewhere to wash off. And the third one is a toilet. So let's take a look at each of those features. This is the bathroom sink. This bathroom is actually the bathroom that's in the hallway that everyone uses. It's for guests. It's the main bathroom. But I have a second bathroom that is connected to my bedroom. It's called the master bath because it's connected to the master bedroom, which is the biggest bedroom of the house. Usually the parents will sleep in that room. So this bathroom is a little bit smaller than the master bath, but it has a lovely sink still. So this is the sink, the faucet. We have hot and cold water that comes out. Very nice. My kids brush their teeth in here, so we have various toiletries as well. And usually you have a nice big mirror as well. This mirror is really dirty. Sorry, I did not really clean before this tour, but there you go. And a hand towel. I do have over here, you can't see it, a little outlet. This outlet is just like any other outlet in my house, and it's useful for plugging in a hair dryer, maybe a little light so you can see at night, these types of things. In the US, it's really common to have an outlet in the bathroom. There's just warnings on things that say, don't put your hair dryer in the sink. Don't put your hair dryer in the bathtub. And they just trust, I guess, that people will make a good decision, for better or for worse. Let's take a look behind the curtain. This is my shower curtain. In the US, we have usually two shower curtains. One is just decorative, and the second one stays inside the bathtub, and that's just to keep all the water in. I've visited places around the world that only have an outside shower curtain, but not an inside shower curtain, and I thought, it's so easy to have an inside shower curtain. It keeps the water in, it makes your bathroom so much cleaner. I think this is a great idea. So in this one, we have two shower curtains. There is a shower head. There is a faucet for turning on and off hot and cold water. There's my kids' toys in the bottom of the bathtub. And typically in the US, a bathtub will be connected to the floor. All right, let's go to the third feature of the bathroom, which is the toilet. Behind the toilet, there is the tank and the flusher. This type of flusher with a little handle like that is the most common in the US. We also have toilet paper roll. Sometimes they're connected to the wall. Mine's just a freestanding device. And there are two things that you will find in almost every bathroom. That is a toilet brush for cleaning the toilet bowl. That's what we call down here. And a plunger. This is very common in bathrooms and it's handy to have when you need it. One more quick thing is most bathrooms have a medicine cabinet of some sort. So in here I have some cream, some fingernail clippers, some little medicines, stuff like that. And it's pretty common to have a medicine cabinet. In the master bathroom, there's also a linen closet. And in the linen closet, there are sheets, towels, extra toilet paper, stuff like that. You might have noticed that there's no window in this bathroom. Some bathrooms have windows. This bathroom is in the middle of the house, so there's no access to outside, except there is a little skylight, which is very handy. So because there's no window, when you're taking a bath or a shower, and if it gets really steamy, there's a fan that you can run to circulate some air. Now in the master bathroom, there is a window that opens to the outside, and I have a little kind of covering over the window so that nobody looks in while you're in the bathroom, but it is possible to have a window in the bathroom or no window in the bathroom like this. Well, thanks so much for joining me on this quick tour of my American bathroom. I'm curious, is it different from yours? Let me know.
Wow, that was really interesting. There are so many things that I'm just desperate to talk to you about, Vanessa. But before we do, let's go and check out my bathroom. Hello, hello. Welcome to my bathroom. Okay, so on the back of our door, we have hooks, which is really handy for towels. Now, this bathroom's unusual. We've got two light switches. We've got one inside, which is a string light switch. We've actually got one outside that does the light on the wall. Just a normal flicker switch. Switch. And then directly in front of me is probably one of the most important aspects of a bathroom, the toilet. This is a very narrow toilet, and it's because we have very limited space. So we have the jaw flush, so we can be environmentally friendly. Do a little flush or a big flush. Surrounding the toilet we have a little bin, our toilet brush, and this here is a nappy bin. And then of course we have the old toilet roll holder on the wall, and this is one of my favourite things in my bathroom, is my giraffe toilet roll holder. Isn't that amazing? Now behind me here is our wall towel heating radiator. Storage is a big problem in this particular bathroom. We don't have much. We put in these shelves. The bottom one obviously has my giraffe, and then we have these little baskets that have things that we need, little nail scissors, floss. And then we have a window. Always in the bathroom, the windows have frosted glass, obviously, and that just allows us to get some fresh air in, get some light into this space while we're stood at the basin washing our hands. Fun fact, my partner actually made this cupboard. And under here we have a little stool that the children can stand on so they can reach the sink. And that brings me on to the bath. Now this is quite a small bath. It's because of the narrowness of this room, so we had to get a smaller bath, but I can still fit in there with two kids. In our bath we have this special tap. So it is a mixer tap. This one in the middle decides whether it's coming through the shower or whether it's coming through the main tap into the bath. Got our little black plug, and you'll notice we don't have anything on the wall to hold the shower head. So the shower head is literally just for rinsing yourself off when you're in the bath. We do have a separate walk-in shower in a little room at the other end of the landing. We tiled the wall because the kids like to splash, so we tiled this area here. And we have this very frustrating little outlet here. Now, in our bathrooms, we never have normal plug sockets with the 3 pins, but you will often find a shaver outlet, so the little 2-pin plug. So that is my bathroom. So Vanessa, is there anything that you saw in my bathroom that made you think, what?
Yes, when I heard you explaining your bathroom, it felt like this is a real British bathroom because there's so many little details that didn't exist in my bathroom. And first thing, when you mentioned a light pool, I have never seen this in the US. Is that something that's normal to have a light pool?
Yeah, I think with a lot of the differences we're going to discuss, I think there's a lot about regulation in terms of safety in the UK. So the string pull light switches, and it's about having the actual switch up on the ceiling and far away from any water, because there's this belief that potentially if you had wet hands, you could electrocute yourself with a switch, which seems a little bit unlikely, but that's what they're all about.
It'd be interesting to know the stats. How many more people get electrocuted or hurt by something in the bathroom in the UK compared to the US? Because it does seem like there's a lot more safety precautions when it comes to that kind of thing for you than for us.
Yeah, maybe they just don't trust us.
Well, some precautions are nice. Well, there was a couple other things, especially related to vocabulary, that I noticed. You said toilet roll. Would you ever say toilet paper? Because that's what I would say.
Yeah. I mean, so the paper on the toilet roll is toilet paper. So we do say toilet paper sometimes, but often we just talk about toilet roll. And even sometimes the toilet paper, we can refer to that as toilet roll. I've got some toilet roll. Do you want some toilet roll? Blow your nose, some toilet roll.
It sounds so cute to me when I hear that. Yeah, I would never say toilet roll. I would say a toilet paper tube if you're talking about just the cardboard on the inside, but I don't think I've ever said toilet roll.
On the subject of vocabulary, I heard you say the flusher.
Yes, there might be a more technical term, but that's just what I call it, the flusher.
Yeah, we call it the flush. So we take off the ER, we just say the flush.
Interesting. Oh, and I noticed for your flusher, you have the dual flush. How did you pronounce the word dual?
Jewel. Jewel.
Jewel, almost like a J sound.
Mm-hmm.
Jewel flush. Okay. Because I would just say dual. DOOL. Dual.
And do you have these dual flushes in America, or?
Yeah, they're more in public places now.
Old-fashioned toilets. I don't know if you ever had these, but they had the back of the toilet which held the water really high up, and then there would be a pull chain and a pipe that would come down. Did you ever have any of those?
I've never seen that in the US, but I studied abroad in the UK and I saw that a couple times. And at first I got a little bit worried, like, if I pull this, what's going to happen? I didn't know, is something going to spray out? Is it going to pull something down? Is it like an alarm to pull it? But it was just to flush the toilet.
Back to vocabulary. You called your taps a faucet.
Oh, I was just about to say that too. Yes, you called it a tap. I would use tap only in the kitchen, so it's just for drinking water. But in the bathroom, the sink faucet and the bathtub faucet is a faucet for us. Some people do say that that is a tap in the kitchen. In the kitchen sink, there's a tap, but I would still be likely to call that a faucet. But we usually use the word tap as an adjective to say tap water. I want some tap water. Oh, the tap water here isn't good. You should buy filtered water. So I'd be more likely to use it as an adjective instead of a noun, that item is a tap.
I see. It's funny because I knew there was this difference, a tap and a faucet, but I was under the impression that Americans actually didn't use faucet anymore, or that it was an old-fashioned word. But yeah, I'm glad to hear that it is still used.
There was one kind of cultural difference that I noticed, because you mentioned that you had the wall tiled because your kids splash water on the wall. So is it common to just have a regular wall in the bathroom, like just a normal wall, or is it usually something waterproof? Because you mentioned you had
yours is plastic, is it? It's a big plastic protector.
That's kind of I wouldn't say cheap, but the normal style inside of a bathtub or a shower. But if you want something a little fancier, so for example, my master bath has big stone tiles on the walls. It would be almost shocking to see a bathtub that has a regular wall instead of something waterproof, here in the US at least.
Yeah, well, that bathroom wasn't tiled before we decorated. So it's not uncommon to see just a wall in the bathroom without tile or protection. The kind of splashback, or it's not a splashback, the kind of wall protection that you had is quite common in like hotels and like center parks, for example. Places where, lots of people use the shower facilities, or the bath facilities, you'll see that. But like you said, it's fancier to have tiles, so the fancier places will have nice big tiles.
And I was wondering, because your shower doesn't attach to the top, and you said that a lot of walls or some walls aren't waterproof, how do you wash your hair? Or as adults, at least in the US, we hardly ever sit in the bathtub. We always stand up and there's a shower and you can wash your hair. But what do you do when you wash your hair in that kind of
So
bathroom?
we have a shower room with a walk-in shower, and that's where I would normally wash my hair.
Okay.
The children will sit in the bath and use like a jug to pour the water over, and we actually don't really use the attachment really for anything other than spraying down the bath after we've cleaned it. But I have lived in houses where that's the only option. And what you do is you would have an attachment on the wall normally to hold it up, and then you'd have a rail and you'd have a shower curtain.
Oh, that would go all the way around?
No, that would just come across. Now, we do have this problem because you guys have figured out the best ever shower curtain arrangement.
2 shower curtains.
Yeah, we don't do that here. So you either have a very moldy bottom to your shower curtain because it's always inside, so that when you put it out, it looks quite unsightly. Or if you have the shower curtain out, you have a soaking wet floor, and there tends to be quite wet walls. It is a problem. It is a problem, which is why modern houses will often have walk-in showers as well
with
as
like a glass door or some kind of door that can actually close.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. Instead of curtains, in some places you'd have a screen. Do you have shower screens across your bath?
By a screen, do you mean some
Like
kind of glass or plexiglass, something like this? Not a screen that has holes in it?
Yeah, not at all. It's like either a glass panel or a folding plastic panel.
Yeah, I think that's maybe like 30% of bathrooms have something like that, and especially bathrooms like the one that's in my master bath. There's no tub, it's just a shower, and because it's fancier, there's a glass sliding door for that, and so the walls look fancy and there's a sliding door. I didn't design it. I think it looks cool, but that's something that isn't as common with a tub. It's more common with just a shower.
Now, there's 2 things that you just brought up there. A tub, we rarely call it a tub. We tend to say bath, or at a push, we might say bathtub, but we rarely say tub, though we know what it means. But what I've never heard before is master bath.
Oh,
We call it an ensuite.
oh, that's so nice. So it's still connected to the biggest bedroom of the house, but it's just called something different?
Technically, yeah. An ensuite just refers to a bathroom that is only accessible through one of the bedrooms.
But you do say master bath or master bedroom.
We say master bedroom, but not. We would say it may be a master bathroom if it's a huge house and there are multiple bathrooms. What I find interesting is that you call it a master bath, but there's no bath in there.
Yes, and I think in the US, it doesn't really matter if there's a bathtub, if there's a shower, or if it's just a toilet. We would still call it a bathroom. And we call that like a half bath is a bathroom that just has a toilet and a sink, but we still call it a bathroom, even though there might not be a bath. A little bit strange, but there you go.
So we do this too occasionally, but we do it where you would say a restroom. We sometimes say bathroom. So if I'm out at a posh hotel or, a function somewhere, I might say, excuse me, where's the bathroom? Because we never say restroom at all. And what we'd normally say in most situations is where's the toilet or where's the loo. But if I feel like I don't want to be that direct and refer to the toilet or the loo, I'd say, where's your bathroom? Because it feels a bit posher, even though we know there's no bath.
Oh, that's interesting. I remember when I was living in the UK, I had to really push myself to say toilet because it just felt so dirty and weird. Like all the other vocabulary I could, if I was talking with a bunch of British friends and I said football instead of soccer, just to kind of fit in a little bit, that didn't bother me. But to say toilet, where's the toilet? It was so hard for me to walk up to a stranger and ask that. It just felt wrong.
The other way, it's a good halfway house, is to say, where are the ladies? Or if you're a man, where are the gents? And so, although a main signpost would say toilets this way, but when you arrive there, ladies this way, gents that way. And so you just say, excuse me, where are the ladies?
Where are the ladies?
As in, where are the ladies' toilets?
Oh, because for me, I would say, where is the ladies' room? I wouldn't just say, where are the ladies, but I would make it singular because I'm talking
Yeah.
about the room.
Yeah.
Where's the ladies' room? I would never say, where are the ladies? But I like that.
Now, in your bathroom, I was quite shocked and worried that you guys have plugs in there, as in plug sockets or outlets. We say plug sockets or plugs more often. I think you say outlet more often.
Yes. Yeah, we have outlets quite normally beside the sink. Quite normally in the US, that's pretty common, beside the sink. And there might be one other, but usually that's the main place. You can plug in a hair dryer, curling iron, toothbrush, whatever you feel like in there. And I've never been electrocuted yet, so so far so good.
What about the kids? Do you have to like remove the electrical items when they're in there in case?
I've never really had a problem with that. And it's also high up. It's maybe this high. It's not on the floor. And I imagine that's probably so that you don't have to pull the cord all the way up to look in the mirror while you're doing your hair or something. Yeah, that's never been really an issue. We don't have, I guess you wash your hands, but we don't have water setting in the bathroom regularly. I guess there's a toilet.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I take that back. There is water in the bathroom, but it's not really much more of an issue than other outlets around the house, at least in my mind.
I guess again, we're just not trustworthy.
So where do you dry your hair, or if you're going to curl your hair or something, where would you do that?
In the bedroom.
Oh, because you have to have a mirror in there, I guess. And
yeah, just like a little vanity unit with a mirror and lots of plug sockets.
Okay. Yeah, that type of thing is almost always in the bathroom.
For us, it wouldn't work because our bathroom is tiny and there's not enough space. But yeah, you just work with what you've got.
Yeah, well, I'm curious to know if it actually works. Are there less electrocutions in the UK?
We also call the plug the thing that you put in the plug hole to stop the water from draining out. What do you call that?
Yeah, I would call that a plug too.
Okay.
But you can, I would use it as a noun and a verb. You can plug the drain with the plug.
Okay. Okay. The only other thing that I thought to bring up was you talked about your towels being in your linen closet.
Yes. Yeah, so that's where we keep extra towels, and that's in the master bath. There's a little closet. So we can put sheets and towels and medicine, extra stuff, toilet paper, stuff like that, that goes in the linen closet. That's at least where we keep it.
Yeah, in many houses I've been in, there's been like a cupboard on the stairs somewhere on the landing where we've kept our linen and towels. In this house, we have a boiler cupboard. I don't know if you guys have big like storage water tanks or boilers, but we have this big warm boiler cupboard in one of the rooms that we just then use the top part of it to put our towels that are always nice and warm when we take them out.
Nice. Yeah, I noticed you had that rack that you hung your towels on. Is that pretty common? And is that only for heating towels, or is that the heating system in your house?
That's the radiator. That's the radiator. So they are more common now. They're called a wall radiator. And it's much more fashionable for our bathrooms to have these wall radiators. But otherwise, you'd have in older bathrooms a shorter radiator, which you can't easily get a towel on. Or if you can just get the one on. So it doesn't give you much space. Or in very modern bathrooms, you might have underfloor heating.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Oh, yeah.
Warm your toes.
Well, we have underfloor heating in one of our rooms, and it's absolutely glorious, especially in the winter.
So I was wondering if it's more of a fire hazard to have something hot or heated like that rack.
It's water. It's heated water in the radiator system. So it's not electrical at all. So there's not going to be any kind of sparks or electrical current that's going to cause a problem.
I think that's pretty unusual in the US that we almost always have central air. And so the heating is coming from that little vent in the wall. And there's not something that you can touch that's hot. And really only old houses have this. So anyway, having something physical like that makes me think, oh, I don't want to bump into it, or I'd be a little bit concerned about my kids, or putting something like toilet paper touches it. Is it going to catch on fire? It's too hot.
I'm going to finish up on the items that you have behind your toilet. So we have a toilet brush is standard behind the toilet in the UK, but you also have a plunger.
Yes, that's pretty common. You either have it behind the toilet. I try to tuck mine a little bit behind so that the kids don't get too close to it. But some people keep it under their sink, especially if you have a cupboard under the sink, because it's a little bit unsightly. So you can kind of hide it under the sink. But it's it's standard to have at least one plunger in a bathroom in the house, or possibly a plunger per bathroom. Just depends, I guess, on how many bathrooms you have.
And is it for the toilet or for the sink?
It's for the toilet. Only
Okay.
for the toilet.
Okay. We do have plungers here in the UK, and you'll usually find one in a house, but often hidden somewhere in a garage or
Oh.
under the stairs. Like, it's not an item that's used very often. We tend to use it for blocked sinks.
Yeah, I feel like it would be quite embarrassing if you were visiting someone's house and you needed to use a plunger and there's not one there, and you have to go ask them, and they have to go to the garage to get one, and they bring it to the house. It would be kind of embarrassing,
Yeah.
I imagine.
Yeah. I mean, And on that note, thank you so much, Vanessa, for showing us around your bathroom and helping to highlight some of these fascinating differences between our bathrooms. Now, if you guys at home from other countries have noticed any differences between our bathrooms and yours, please do share that in the comments. And don't forget, guys, I've made some lovely notes for you to download. Now, if this has got you thinking and you've really enjoyed looking at these differences, then we have also made a video all about the differences between our kitchens. And that really is an interesting video. So do go and check that out over on Vanessa's channel. I'll put all the links down below. Vanessa, thank you so much again for joining us.
Thanks so much, Anna, for being willing to talk about bathrooms publicly on the internet.
Well, we have to, don't we? Everyone uses them. Everyone uses them.
Yep.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching, guys. Take care and goodbye.